Hi everyone, this is Sarah, the Catholic Homemaker. I want to show you how to make beef tongue in my Vitaclay, and it can also be made on the stovetop as well, your Instant Pot or slow cooker. It's very easy to replicate. The basic rule for cooking tongue is that you need to boil it 1 hour per pound of tongue meat. So anyway, first of all, if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. I post every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, so I would love for you to subscribe to my channel to grow this community. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Also comment below to let me know if you've ever made tongue before, what's your favorite way of having it, and share this video. Hit the notification for all notifications, and just all those things will help people find my video much faster. So let me show you what I have. So here I have 2.5 pounds of beef tongue. So that will be needed to be boiled for 2.5 hours on the stovetop. And I'm wondering actually if in my Vitaclay I can cook it even faster than that on the fast setting. This is the fast setting, but it's kind of gotten worn a little bit from use. So the slow cooker probably would be like 2.5 hours, but I'm gonna kind of see what I can do. So here's how it looks like in the clay pot. And I'm just gonna be adding filtered water from our Berkey filter here. And you just want to make sure that it is covered with water and leave a little bit of extra space if you are using the Vitaclay, because it's very important to use enough water so that it does not crack. So maybe like 1 inch or so above, and maybe the same thing for the stove as well. I know for the Instant Pot you probably don't have to use very much water at all. The slow cooker probably the same thing, but I like to do it this way. The Vitaclay pot gives it more flavor, and it can actually cook a lot faster than the slow cooker as well if you do it on the fast setting. So that's probably good enough water, maybe just a little bit more. So I decided to use the slow cooker function. So here's what I'm gonna do. Press menu until it reaches slow, and then I'm going to turn it down actually to 2.5 hours because it's 2.5 pounds. And then just put the lid on. You can optionally season it, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. So here I have some spices I just picked out, including some salt. I'm gonna put a couple teaspoons of salt in there. Maybe just another ½ teaspoon to make sure it's salted properly. I'm gonna add the rest of this little amount of garlic powder here. And I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this, but I wanna do about 1 teaspoon. And then a ½ teaspoon or so of cardamom. I would do some other spices. Oh, you know, I also want to do cumin. Forgot about that. Some cumin here. And I think I'll do about ½ teaspoon of that. So I added the cumin, and I'm just gonna put the lid on, and that's about it for now. Come back later. An important note I want to make is that one thing you can do to really make tongue taste delicious is you can poke holes all over the tongue, just like right now as I just added the tongue. Before you do that, you can poke holes with a knife all over the tongue and stuff it full of garlic cloves. And that is something I've done many times. This time I'm kind of rushed for time, so I don't really want to do that. And that's why it's more important to season the water itself to make it a more delicious tasting broth. So we'll come back in a little bit. All right, so I have an ice bath prepared right here. The tongue is completely cooked. The purpose of the ice bath is to just completely cool it down so that it makes it very easy to peel off the skin. So the tongue has cooled off a little bit, and I'm going to show you how you might peel it. So I have my cutting board right here, And I'm just gonna take my fingers. If it doesn't work with fingers, I'll use a knife. But it should start to peel rather easily. I'm actually gonna get a thicker part of the tongue. That's gonna make it easier. I'm gonna cut like a little incision in the tongue. And okay, there it is. It's coming right off. Look at that. Beautiful. It's coming right off so easily, no effort. And you could certainly do it while it's hot, but you like burn your hands pretty bad, and it just does, it sticks really badly on the tongue. And in our family, we eat the whole animal. We try not to waste anything. At least that is my goal. And I've tried to have our children try to appreciate these things as well, just from an early age, like as a baby. So there's no, this method I love because you don't waste any of the meat. Here's how it looks with everything peeled off of it. Oh, there's a couple of little spots here I didn't get. But yeah, it doesn't look that attractive. But my tip is to always slice it. And I'm also gonna show you a couple tricks to like disguise it if your family is picky. So I'm just slicing it as if it were a nice roast. Okay, so it's all cut up now. Here's how it looks like when it's sliced like that. Here's some of the smaller pieces here. So I have transferred everything to our cast iron griddle, and I just put the slices down. I didn't add any fat because the tongue itself has lots of pockets of fat on it. And the trick is to get it just really crispy to make it taste really good. And what I have, I sprinkled all of the slices with salt, cracked some freshly ground black pepper, some cumin and garlic powder, and I'm gonna flip them. I flipped everything, so some of them got a nice little golden crust to them. Others, like in the middle, I don't think it is hot in the middle, so I might have to cook them a little bit more. It doesn't have to be that crispy, but I ended up seasoning everything else. And by the way, I also made homemade arepas to go with that, because with the seasoning I did with the tongue, it's more of like a taco type of seasoning, but you could certainly season it to your liking if you want to serve it whatever kind of dish you're serving. So some of the slices, they look actually like a regular type of tenderloin or roast, so you could probably get away with that, but I'll show you what I'm going to do after this. Here's what it looks like after I've browned everything. And so now I'm about to cut it into smaller strips. And you can put it on top of salads. You can just serve it with a side of vegetables or other starch, or with tacos, or with arepas like I have made here. So just whatever to your liking. So here it is after I cut it up into strips, and as you can see, it kind of looks like a strip steak or a skirt steak that might have been cut up, but it just looks so appealing and you can't tell that it's tongue anymore. And I just really love this method if anybody is picky in your household. I also wanted to mention about the broth. You can definitely keep that and cook with it or just drink it, whatever. Just season it to your liking. If you didn't like the spices that I used, you can certainly use others. You probably need to salt it for one thing, but it's really healthy to use in your cooking. So I try to foster healthy eating habits in our household and try not to say that anything like looks bad or tastes bad. And I just do that with our children because I know like if they start to get those sort of negative thoughts into their head, they're not gonna want to try things. And so I try to be as positive as I can about it, even though I didn't grow up with organ meats, and it's kind of a hard sell for me. It's definitely a hard sell for my husband. So he's really the reason I have to do these kind of things with organ meats or hide them in our food, because I want him to get the benefit of that too, or I just don't also want to cook separate meals. So unfortunately, that's kind of the price of growing up without traditional cooking or without organ meats. And there's just so many benefits to eating them. They're full of vitamins. Like, before we had all these supplements and vitamins in our system, in our food system, or everywhere, people used organ meats and they ate the whole animal. They just ate like a whole foods balanced diet. And you can still do that to this day and age. You just have to take careful care to make sure you're getting enough wide spectrum of nutrients from eating the whole animal, from eating like vegetables and fruits from around your area, ideally, and drinking raw milk and raw cheeses and all that stuff. And that's just the way people used to traditionally eat. And unfortunately, especially with the American diet, that most of that has gone away, and we just stick to just muscle meat. And the muscle meat is one of the least nutritious things about an animal, unfortunately. And yes, it does have a lot of nutrition, like iron in red meat, even the muscle meat. So you have a lot of different things like B vitamins and stuff, but you get more of the full spectrum of nutrients if you're eating the whole animal and organ meat. So I hope you found this video to be helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope you have a wonderful week. May God bless you and your families.